Welcome back to another episode of Real Game Talk, where sports and culture collide to give us a conversation. I'm your host, Will, and we're live in studio. We also have a live guest with us today, but we're also rolling out a new sponsorship as well. Real Game Talk is now powered to you by Exclusive Sneak Shop in Mesquite and Rockwall, Texas, where they fit in to stand out. As you guys know, I normally do this show with my co-host, Matt, Double M. Matt, how are you today?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm excited about the show today. We back in the studio. So that means we got a guest. So, yeah, I'm just ready to get started, man, and so the people can see what we got going.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, when me and Matt created this show, we talked about the show to evolve around sports and culture. Culture could have been fashion, sneakers, music, as well as entertainment. Well, today we have a guest in the building. We got a true Dallas legend in the building, somebody who don't mind repping the city, whether it's the culture or doing it in the community or with the sports teams. From the Cowboys to the Mavericks, he's locked in with both franchises. And not only as a fan, but also somebody who reps the brand. He's also the blueprint on new artists to show them how to be real while coming up. Not to mention he gave us the Texas anthem, Ice Cream Paint Job, the triple platinum smack that still hits today. Can you guys welcome us and help me welcome him to the show? We got none other than Dorrough Music, also known as 6'3". What's good, my guy? How are you today?
Good, man.
All right.
How you feeling?
I'm okay, man. We got a good episode. I feel good about it today. I'm ready to get into it. Before we get into our list of topics, I wanted to have you talk about your transition so we get it right, as well as the audience get it right. Your transition from Dorrough Music to 6'3".
Transition. So it really, I won't really call it a transition because, Dorrough Music is still the brand. 6'3" is just an addition. It's an AKA, it's my height. I played ball, and when I stayed in L.A., I moved to L.A. in like 2013, 2014 from Dallas to go out there and record. And when I would go out there, I would play basketball a lot, and I would play with a lot of celebrities, Chris Brown, Tank the Singer, just a lot of different people that were celebrities. So when we would hoop, instead of calling us by names, everybody had a nickname. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Brown was CB or Brown, you know what I'm saying? And they started calling me 6'3" because I was one of the, in that group, I was like one of the tallest ones, you know what I'm saying? So they would call me 6'3". So that's kind of where it started at. And then I was also working on a mixtape while I was out there. And I was recording, and they was coming through the studio a lot, and we started using it in the music, AKA, and then it kind of took off from there. And then that just kind of been an AKA. But I end up, some years later, using it as an official brand to kind of spread my music out because I create so much music and so much different range from it. My first album, I had a separated fan base after my first album. When I dropped my first album, I had fan bases that loved the singles, the bangers, and then on that first album, I had a lot of substantial records where I was talking more about who I am in my personal life that was different from the bangers that, the mainstream records. And from that day forward, I had a split fan base to where I had fans that really wanted and appreciated and loved when I gave them bangers, and then I had some that was like, hey, man, I like when Dorrough come like this. So from that day on, I had a split fan base. But me as an artist, I like doing both or doing it all to fulfill my, self as an artist. And over time, I realized that, I could actually spread my music out by having two brands. And I've been doing that slowly. And so really the 6'3" brand is kind of my newer brand. It appeals to my younger audience. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of high school, college students, you know what I'm saying, that follow my 6'3" brand. It's more the energy, it's more the club banger, it's more the turn up, it's more the rap side, you know what I'm saying? Where with my Dorrough Music brand, I'm maturing it, you know what I'm saying? And like I'm taking it to another level, and that's a lot of that's actually transitioning right now, with the music that's coming up this year and after that. A lot of stuff with my Dorrough Music brand is going to be on a whole nother wave, and it's gonna be a lot more substantial, a lot more musical. You know, it tells a story itself. So as I put out the music and the visuals, it'll tell the story. So, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to know that personally. As we led up into getting into this episode, of course we were going back and listening to Ice Cream Paint Job, Walk That Walk, Get Big. One of my personal favorites right now is Boys Get Quiet with the
Boys Get Quiet. Yeah.
with the Malcolm Kelly on there.
Yeah.
Just
Shout
because
out to Malcolm Kelly.
I kind of touched bases with him. I played football in college with a guy from Longview, so he always talked about Malcolm Kelly. So that freestyle is legendary based off of the OU days and then what he did for Texas. So going back and doing that. But when I got into Apple, Spotify, I noticed that you was under 6'3", so I wanted to make sure you got your story out there and you told why the music was now being labeled under 6'3", which is a good thing. I thought coming into it, I anticipated you to say, hey, it was a rebranding, kind of like what Snoop did with Snoop Lion after the 10 years. Or you get into some of the people who have longevity, they rebrand themselves after a few years just to kind of, what you said, though, leading into your newer audience, your college and high school students and stuff like that. So that was a question I was looking forward to just getting it for my own personal knowledge, to be honest with you.
Yeah, nah, for sure. It's definitely a part of rebranding, but it's also, like, I never leave my Dorrough music brand. That's who I am. So it's just an addition. You know, I think a lot of you get a lot of artists that have, like, for instance, T.I. had this little thing where he had the T.I. tip, the album.
Right.
And then, you know, Titty Boy, 2 Chainz used to be Titty Boy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it would be if they actually kept those brands or, like, used them for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Tip had a Tip page and the T.I. page and they was releasing music out, which I think it would have been dope to do, but I actually did that, you know. So that's basically what it is. It'll be like if Beyonce also had a Sasha Fierce page, and it was, you know what I'm saying? So I just actually went through with it, and I'm loving it. I'm loving what it's doing for me as an artist, because once again it allows me to make and create music and release more. So at some point I'll be able to release albums simultaneously that promote each other, but they're completely different on the 2 different brands, and that, you know, that'll fulfill me as an artist. So that's where I'm going with it.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. We'll actually transition from out of that intro to actually the material that we wanted to get into, as we are a sports and culture podcast. So we wanted to take it back for you and discuss. We know you had a love for sports as well as basketball. We wanted to take it back to when you were a little kid out here in Texas. Where did your love for sports come from when you first started playing? Was it, maybe first, second grade? Was it a boys club or grassroots program? Can you shine some light on that for us?
So I started playing. So my big brothers was big in sports, football, track, especially football. I had 2 big brothers that they were just they was just the people when it came to that, and they used to always try and get me to play football. And actually, I did like football when I was a kid. But I didn't necessarily want to play. And then, like, I want to say, like, first, second grade, I got introduced to basketball. Okay. And, like, basketball, the way that it made me feel and the love that I had for it, it just kind of, like, surpassed everything. And I actually started wanting to play. But really it started at school. Like, you know, I started noticing that naturally in PE, I was, like, the better player when we just played naturally. I wasn't thinking about spending, but I was always the best player, and they would always tell me I'm the best. So when they pick teams, they would pick me. But at that time, I wasn't playing on no teams and nothing like that. And then I remember my big brother and them came to a field day. Like, it was my first or second grade. They came to field day, and it was this little basketball, like, free throw and 3-point competition. It was just like these games of basketball, and I was just like killing everybody. And that was the first time they ever seen me play, because at home we didn't have a goal. So they never saw me play, and they saw me play. And my big brother, he was just like, "Hey, bro, you're gonna have to play basketball now," because they were trying to even play football. But when they pushed me to play basketball, I was cool with that. So we was staying at Oak Cliff at this time, and we ended up moving to Lancaster. You know, I want to say about a year later. And when we moved to Lancaster, they had like a league, a rec league, LAA is what it was called. And I ended up playing in that league, and when I played in that league, I was like so much rawer than the other players that, like, I became like all around, like, the city, they were just talking about me. They would come, people to come to my games, and it really started there. So I would say about third grade. by the time, you know, I was about in the 5th, 6th grade, you know, I'm playing in the different leagues, the DeSoto leagues, the AAUs, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting, you know what I'm saying, into that Team Texas, all that type stuff. And I started building a name just early on. And by the time I got in junior high, like I was that guy, you know what I'm saying? And then high school. So yeah, it really started at that age and just kind of me naturally falling in love. I wasn't never pushed into it. I didn't get like heavily influenced to do it. I just came across it and then I fell in love with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. When you mentioned Oak Cliff, Matt, my guy, he's from Oak Cliff.
Yeah, man. Glendale, man. Shout out to Glendale. You know.
So is that where you was at like the whole time before you moved to Lancaster, or did you live in other parts of
the whole
DFW?
time. Like I was born Glendale, Oak Cliff, and then we moved to Lancaster, and then that was between Glendale and Lancaster, the only places I lived until adulthood.
Gotcha.
You know? So, yeah.
Okay. I'm a former college athlete, so a lot of things that I learned and I still work with now to this day, I learned from being disciplined and playing sports.
Facts.
Can you talk about anything that you would have took from playing sports that you use towards your professional career right now? And piggybacking on that, is there anybody that you work with as far as like coaches that were in the city that you feel like put something in you or put a battery in you that you use to your professionalism as well?
Man, all my coaches. So I think my first influential coach was his name was Coach James. It was probably when I got about in the 5th grade, 6th grade, and I ended up playing for the DeSoto Knicks, and we was playing in a lot of BCI, AAU leagues. There was a lot of leagues around, and I played with his son was Jermaine Bill. So you look at Dollar Bill, what we called him. You know what I'm saying? So me and him was point guards, and like Jermaine Bill was the only. I remember when I first came and played. Like, I was always the best. And Jermaine Bill was the first person when I played him, I was like, oh, there's somebody on, you know, we're on another level. So me and him was like the best guards. But Jermaine Bill, he was tough like that. So I grew so much as a player by playing with them and every day going at it with Jermaine Bill that by the time I went back to my team, like I was even way. That's what really got me. When I got to junior high, I was just like, I was playing at high schoolers all the time. Like we go play ball, we'll go to the high school and play, and I was running with them. It was because of, you know what I'm saying, really Jermaine Bill. Like I used to work out with him every day at practice. We play on the same team. We was always guarding each other, so I learned a lot. So his dad was Coach James, and that's who really started pushing me and putting a different type of batter in my back. To kind of get me out of my comfort zone. So that was the first coach. Then I would say the second coach after that was probably when I got to junior high. Coach Brown, when I was in 8th grade, he kind of got me out the pocket of in junior high, I was so nice that I felt like I didn't have to play as hard sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of put that dog in me that I ended up having when I got to high school, because he basically would always tell me like, okay, yeah, you playing like this now, but when we go, you know, we finna go up to Spruce and we finna play these, they gonna be on you, you know what I'm saying? So he would like put a little different batter in my back. So by the time I got to high school though, like I was a freshman on varsity, I was able to like really, you know what I'm saying, use the stuff that I had got from those coaches. And I think when I got to high school, Coach Russian was the coach at that time, and he was my senior coach, but he was like a real strict white coach, and he was my first white coach actually, like real, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, he had a different take on everything, and you know what I'm saying? So everything I was able to balance out everything I've learned with him. So he kind of like showed me like, okay, these your strengths, these your weaknesses, and he made me always focus on my weaknesses. Like, you know, he never talked about my strengths and never gave me credit for my strengths at all. So like, it made me kind of feel like, man, like I was inadequate because he would always talk about my weaknesses. Right. So I had to work on my weaknesses so much that they ended up becoming strengths. So those 3 coaches made me all elevate in some kind of way. Now I had a lot of coaches in between from different teams, because I used to play on a lot of different summer league teams, but them 3 stick in my head because each one of those coaches, after that, I elevated to another level. You know what I'm saying? And learned a lot of discipline from those coaches. Okay.
So when did you decide that music was gonna be the route? And y'all just start with that, and I'll follow up with that after you.
So when I was little, I was always into music, not in a way where I thought I would ever create it. I was never like my pops. RP my pops, man. He would always, when I started rapping, it would trip him out because he was like, didn't nobody see that coming. But like what it was when I really think about it, I remember going in my big sister room, and my big sister she was into music. She didn't do music, but she was a like a choreographer, dancer type stuff at a school. That she was just really into music, and she always played music. And like while I would go in her room, she would put headphones on my ears and just let me listen to all of her CDs. I'd go through her CD book, and she used to I used to be in there for hours just discovering music. Now, at that time, I didn't really realize that I was falling in love with music like that. I was just doing it because she was introducing it to me. Then when I got older, I remember anytime I would be going through a hardship, like something going on in life, something going on with family, like it's real, I would go to music to listen to, and that would make me feel better. But even then, I wasn't realizing that I was tapping into music like that. I want to say it was probably my sophomore year. First of all, I was influenced before high school. I was influenced by I used to love listening to Bone Thugs. I used to love listening to Tupac. You know what I'm saying? I just love their music a lot. You know what I'm saying? Drew Hill. I used to listen to a lot of music that I just felt was good. You know what I'm saying? And I would listen to that a lot. But then it shifted because I want to say probably about my 8th grade, in the junior year, that's when Texas started kind of coming in the mix. That's when you start having the UGK. My big brothers now started listening to UGK, put me on that sound. You know what I'm saying? Prior to that was a little bit with the No Limit and then Cash Money that would come to that sound. Okay. But when it got to Texas, and they started putting me on that, and I remember my brother introduced me to Lil Flip.
Okay.
Where he started talking about Lil Flip. So he was actually, he was listening to Lil Flip before I knew who Lil Flip was. Okay. Now, one day I went to a mall in Redbury. We went to Redbury Mall. Right. And me and my mom, she was shopping, I think it was back to school. We was going to get stuff for school. And it was this dude at Redbury Mall used to have this stage right there in the middle on the bottom floor. And there was this dude just up there rapping. And I remember walking in the mall, it was a beat on, the dude up there rapping. And I remember just seeing him and not really thinking much. But then we was going to stores, he was freestyling. And every time we would come out of the store, he would still be freestyling on the same beat. Mm-hmm. Going to another store, come out 10 minutes later, he's still there. And then by this time, I'm like, who is this dude? He's just freestyling. So by this time, when we first walked in, when nobody paying attention to him, by I want to say probably 30, 45 minutes later, the whole mall was surrounded by him. And I remember watching him, and I was just like, damn. And then when he finished, he said his name was Lil Flip. He was 18 at the time. Okay. Now but I didn't make the connection between what my brother listened to and him, right, because I never asked my brother who it was. I just listened to it. But then I remember maybe a week later, I heard Lil Flip on the radio, and I think it was either that I Can Do That or this is where we can ball. They were saying Lil Flip.
Leprechaun album.
Yeah, exactly, okay, bro. And I remember being so happy about hearing that, and I felt like I discovered him because I was like, oh, that was the dude that was in the mall. Right, and I was telling my mom, that was the dude that was in the mall that day. He was just rapping, this and that. So I was so excited about that it took me down a rabbit hole to really, from that moment, it was Texas everything, because in my mind, especially then, if you was on the radio, that was biggest day. Right. And so from seeing that dude in the mall and then hearing him on the radio, and then his video started coming on BT, I was like, oh shit, it can really happen here in Texas, this, that, and that. So then I went into this whole little Texas rabbit hole. And then from there, the Swisher House came. And by the time Swisher House came, I was fully invested. But even then, I wasn't rapping. It wasn't until probably my freshman, sophomore year when DSR came out. Because DSR, they from Dallas, but Tom Tom, he from the L, he from the Grove, Highland Hills and all that, but he went to Lancaster. Lil Ronnie at that time went to Lancaster. We used to see them around. Okay. And they used to have to drop these mixtapes, bro, and that's all we would listen to. And by then it was in my backyard. And I'm like, okay, I know this shit is doable for real. And then once they came out, I really started writing my own raps. And I remember immediately my first song was called 75134. It was the area code from U.S. Homes in Lancaster. Okay. And I made it. It was on a Nuck If You Buck beat. And at this time, I was popular on the basketball team, right, captain and all that stuff. So I had a lot of influence in my school. Okay. So when I came in and I'm letting everybody know I'm rapping type thing, I already had a fan base. Right. You know what I'm saying? That song, we would run out to that song at the games. I would drop mixtapes with 5, 6 songs on there, and I'd be selling them $5, $10, $20 a pop. People was buying them. And when I started making money immediately from that, that's when it shifted. It was it opened my whole world, to having no bread, to to now having $200-$300 in your pocket from rapping in high school, that's when I went full-fledged. So it really started in like high school.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? And it was that whole thing that made it. So one thing after another. Once I got into it and I did it, I never turned back.
Understandable. You took me into my next question talking about that, and I'm gonna have Sam back up to a little bit, because when I picked up and heard the sound, it was when I was in college, which would have been around the same time you was in college.
Yeah.
We first heard you with the Halle Berry and the Walk That Walk and the Primetime Clique.
Yeah.
When you guys formed that group, anytime someone hears Primetime Clique, they automatically think of Primetime and Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Did you guys think about that when y'all was naming the group Primetime or anything like that? Did y'all want the spotlight? How did that name come? Because like I said, we first hear Primetime, you think sports, Deion.
Yeah. So I came up with the name, but so to take it back,
okay,
I was a huge fan of Deion Sanders. I remember when Deion Sanders first came to the Cowboys. Yeah, I got the Deion's on right now.
I ain't even think about that. Okay,
I was a huge fan of Deion Sanders, following it, because actually, when I was little, I liked playing basketball, but I love watching football. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And tracking. I used to collect cards, football cards, basketball cards. So I knew like all the players' stats, everything about them, like football and basketball, but especially football at that time. So Deion Sanders, I had obviously been following him for a while, but when he came to the Cowboys, that was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? We won a Super Bowl. I remember that year the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. Me and my brothers them skipped school. We was I was going to Lisbon Elementary in Oak Cliff at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So we skipped school because
It's the first Super Bowl?
No,
it's the Deion Sanders.
It was like the
third one. Okay,
yeah,
I got you. Got you.
Yeah. So when they won that Super Bowl and hit that parade, we ended up skipping school, going to the parade, and I met Emmett. You know what I'm saying? I got to see Deion, Michael Irvin, all of them. I was like a little kid. I remember walking up to them and they embraced me because I was like a little kid. So that became a real big moment. You know how you have core moments as kids that you never forget. And I remember Deion just being he was so cool. He had the bandana on, and I just remember watching him. You know what I'm saying? And like Deion was a big thing. Right. So fast forward to when I started playing basketball, and I'm older. I'm like sixth grade, seventh grade. You know, I had my next person who I like had that type of admiration for was Allen Iverson.
Okay.
So Allen Iverson, you know what I'm saying? So same thing. So long story short, I started learning. I tell people all the time, the three most influential people who I feel like came and did stuff and did stuff for the culture in my mind within sports and in rap. For me, it was Deion Sanders, Allen Iverson, and Lil Flip. Okay. Like all of them, the way they came in the game, all was like a way where I was watching people before them, but it was something different about them. Right. Not just they playing though. I was in love with the way they played, but it was what they did off the court too. So long story short, Primetime was always a thing to me. But when I came over Primetime Clique, I was at PV, and I remember, me and my homie DA. Shout out to DA, RIP DA, because it started, the original group was me, DA, Ace Boogie, Teddy B, and Cash Capone. And I remember going to DA, and we was coming up with the group. I say, because I had already told him, like, hey, we putting out this music. I got to come up with a group name. And then I came to him, I said, it's going to be Primetime Clique. And honestly, at that time, I don't even think that nothing in my mind at that time had anything to do with Deion at that mind. It was just already in my psyche then. But as I go back, and when I go back, I'm like, it came from the first time I heard that was that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of indirectly. It was kind of like indirectly. But when I did, I wasn't like, oh, Deion, it was nothing. That was just something. Because I started using Primetime while I was playing basketball. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, for instance, my senior year, we used to have, if we was up on the team by like 10 points, sometimes even if we really went up, I had a segment where I was going in the middle of the half court. I was point guard. And like that would be like everybody would know like I would do that once a game where I would go in the middle of the half court, and that means I'm just like that's when I'm finna rock somebody. I'm finna do like a big play to get everybody. I get the crowd involved. Most time it'd be like in the third or fourth quarter, especially fourth quarter if I ain't done it yet. And like every time I would do it, that's what before I would do it, I got a homie Black Jesus or my homie Jay Will. They'll start yelling prime time. Okay. That means that they telling me I haven't done that yet. When I hear that, I would know it's time for me to go do that. So with that being said, prime time would always mean like it's that moment, it's that time. So that's what really, like when I got to PV and I came up to it, because I would tell DA all the time, like, hey bro, it's that time where, you know what I'm saying, like we got this buzz. It's really that time to really turn up with it. And then I came with Primetime Clique. So I would say indirectly maybe, yeah, but it wasn't like directly like, oh, Deion Sanders. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I think that appealed to Deion, because me and Deion had ended up building a relationship like after that, you know what I'm saying, when I came out, you know what I'm saying? So
it's tough.
Yeah, shout out to Deion Sanders.
Okay.
So let's say if you kept hooping, and you had your choice of colleges you wanted to go to, anybody in the USA, where would you have chosen to go?
At that time or right now? Like at that time, I would have probably went to UT just because basketball. So I want to say, what year did TJ Ford?
That's 04.
03, 04.
Yeah. I was, yeah. So when in high school, I used to play against, my freshman year, I played against Chris Bosh.
Okay.
Sophomore year, I played against LaMarcus Aldridge, Donald Sloan. These are people that went pro. Who else? Byron Eaton, but he didn't go pro, but he was a real big. Yeah. I said so. Like TJ Ford, we used to hear about a lot. But I remember he ended up going down to Texas or whatever. Okay. And like I remember, I was really looking, because I was like, damn, I want to be close to the crib, but I want to go to a big school. That's also in like. You know, I knew about Baylor, Texas, and whatever that I felt like was close, but they was big schools. But yeah, I would have definitely went to Texas. And yeah, I had, you know, different scholarships. San Marcos, got Texas State, San Marcos. That's where I was actually gonna go to play ball.
I played against them in football.
Like by this time, bro, I was rapping so full-fledged, and I had that fan base, and I was making money, and I was more into that to the point where, cause you know, sports is political, man. You got to go through the right everything, the right system. You can't get hurt. It's tough, bro. Like I seen, it's still people that I can't believe didn't go pro. Like even like a Byron Eaton.
Yeah.
Man, I had been hearing Byron. We've been playing against Byron Eaton and since I was like fifth grade, and all the way we was same age, same grade. That's all we heard. Byron Eaton it was no way he wanted to go pro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I know so many players like that it was just like, man, I'm actually glad I went that route, because man, if you don't make it, the thing about sports, and I kind of hate it like that, is especially for our community, most of the time you give so much to sports, and then if you don't make it, when you don't make it, it's like most people. It's hard to pivot from sports,
right?
Because you start from when you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. You invest a lot, you know what I'm saying, into it. So a lot of people, that's all they know. And then if you don't hit that, a lot of people don't be able to pivot. Oh, yeah. So you know, I started thinking about that type of stuff, and I was just like, man, I can control this music thing. Like I already got a fan base. If I keep on doing this guerrilla tactic, I can make a fan base. I can make this work. So I always hit the mindset of this is something I can control. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to wait till a game is set up or go through a system or that. So, yeah, that's when I started, you know, going that route.
Okay. So. You keep leading us right into the conversations where we're going. Again, you coming out of Primetime Clique with the hits then with Holly Berry and Walk That Walk, but then you super take off with Ice Cream Paint Job. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to see if you could talk about your success with Ice Cream Paint Job, but also just studying your work, studying how you blew up. We heard it in Arkansas. I've heard you talk about how it blew up out there in Cali as Ice Cream Paint Job. The BPMs wasn't what Dallas was looking for.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, like I said, this is a two-part question. You can answer both of them. Do you feel like an artist from Dallas has to get recognition from outside Dallas before Dallas accepts them?
I would say probably to get to the mainstream level, yeah, but it's impossible to do that. You have to get a buzz in Dallas first.
Okay.
So it's like what happens is, I mean, for the most part you do. Okay. What happens is, like, when I think about me, even when I think about Tum Tum, Big Tuck. Even when you think about the new Dallas artists like Zillionaire and Montana, them like they hit a buzz in Dallas first. Okay. So what happens is you got to get a buzz in Dallas first, okay, and you got to get that respect. But then for that to not burn out or die out and take that to a next level, you do have to go outward. Okay. To you know what I'm saying. And for me, it was actually Houston and then LA. Okay. You know what I'm saying. But like to sustain it and take it to the next level, at some point you have to, because you're gonna hit a ceiling. Right. When you coming up in Dallas, you gonna have that buzz, and then you're gonna hit a ceiling. And when you hit that ceiling, that's when it's time to dip for a minute. You got to go, whether it's to Houston, whether it's to the West Coast, whether it's to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? You do have to go branch out. So it's kind of yes and no. It's kind of you got to do both. Okay. But it's almost impossible to not have a buzz in Dallas and then blow up in Dallas and people know you from Dallas. It kind of, it don't really work that way too much in rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause Dallas gonna test you. They're gonna, they can't wait to say you didn't put the grassroots in and this and that. So yeah, bro, you know what I'm saying? The only person who I seen done that from Dallas and went there is like 4 Bats. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's like on some mainstream, and he R&B, and that's a whole different system. And honestly, at some point, he probably gonna want to come tap in with the city to sustain what he got. Dallas. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. He from Oak Cliff. You know what I'm saying? He from Dallas, but like he basically was an internet story. Like he got pulled right into it. Right. And that's it's pros and cons to that. Well, obviously the pros is you get to go straight to it, but the cons is that foundation. You know what I'm saying? You really want to build like. That's why I like what how she doing, man. He building this foundation like how I built my foundation. That that's important.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause this right there as I want to give a shout out to our official sponsor, Exclusive Sneak Shop and Exclusive Barber Shop. Whether you're looking for Jordans, Dunks, Yeezys, or some grills, if you pull up to an Exclusive Sneaker Shop in Mesquite, Rockwall, they'll get you right. Also, if you pull up to the barbershop, which is located at the Mesquite location, they'll also get you right. The best part about this is that if you pull up to the shop or if you go to the website, which is exclusivesneakshop.net, if you use the promo code REALGAME, they'll give you $20 off your next purchase, whether it's kicks or clothing that they have. Also, if you mention the podcast, they'll give you a free haircut on the barbershop side. So I think that's some real love. Okay. As we slide back to the questions, you led us right into Dallas, where we're talking about being from Dallas, being located in Dallas. We move into your professional career. We noticed and we pick up stream that you got ties and you made ties based off of the publicity with the Cowboys as well as the Mavericks. Researching you, listening to the anthems that were played, can you talk about your ties with them, your relationship with both the Mavericks and the Cowboys, as well as your deals that you have with them?
Yeah. Man, the Mavericks and the Cowboys, those are two situations that, I'm real proud of just because they was out the box when I did them. And, I mean, it still lives. And I naturally grew up fans of both teams, right. Naturally. Big Cowboys fans. I got pictures of me, child, with the starter jackets on. A big pastime in our family is like how me and my brothers and my pops was connected. The one big thing was the Cowboys, the games. That was big deals for us. Like, that's how we really connected as when I was younger. One of my biggest things that I did with my pops up until he passed was going to Cowboy games and watching Cowboys games. Okay. So that's like ingrained into the culture. So naturally, and the same thing with the Mavericks too, but definitely the Cowboys. So when I want to say maybe like 10 years ago, maybe even more than that, like I had got to that point where I was talking about that ceiling in Dallas, and I went to LA for a minute. But I didn't go there to move right away. I would go out there all the time. I would go out there for like a month at a time, go record, just kind of like introduce, myself out to the market because my music was hot out there. I had a lot of relationships out there. But then I would come back to Dallas. And every time I would come back to Dallas, I would feel I'd be like, damn, what else to do? Like, because I was on the radio, I was on the clubs, and it was kind of in that, I was in that motion where I was hitting that ceiling that I'm talking about. So I was just like, damn, the only thing else I could do in Dallas is get connected with the Cowboys. Right. Okay. And do something with them. And now at this time, it wasn't even nothing, no blueprint, none of that. But what was crazy is I was thinking of that, and then I actually had a homie that worked with the Cowboys. He worked in an organization, and he would always tell me, like, man, bro, he would be like, they need to start embracing hip hop, man. They do all this country stuff and this and that. And then we would kind of talk about it, but this time it wasn't a blueprint, it wasn't a thought to do something. One day he hit me, he was just like, hey, bro, all they talking about you in the office, they had some new people in the organization. They was young kids that came out of college and whatnot, and they would just talk about me all the time. So he would always tell me that. So one day he hit me and said that. I was like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? What you think about if we, did something with the Cowboys, like an anthem or something? He say, man, that's all they talking about. He was like, these kids talking about they tired of using country stuff. So anyway, he set up a meeting. I went up there. And like before I went up there, the smartest thing I ever did was I believe in manifesting and making stuff happen. So I'm like, man, I'm finna go up there. I'm finna make them a Cowboys anthem before I even go up there. Instead of going up there to talk about it, I'm gonna go up there because I was like, if nothing come about it, I can still put it out. It's my music, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a Cowboys fan, so it ain't like it's gonna be something against my brand. So I went and I made a dope record, you know what I'm saying? It's called It's Our Time. Right. Yeah, they started, but when I brought it in there, and I played it, man, they went crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? They was just like, they was getting ready to use an anthem that they had. And then when I played my record, I remember them looking at each other and said, hey, we're not, they deleted the other one. We was just like, we going with this one. And that was how we got started. So it really kind of started with me just doing an anthem for them. And they started playing it and wasn't nothing official yet. Then I started getting, they invited me to the game. They gave me a couple free tickets. They started playing it. I started hearing it in the arena. And I realized when I heard it in the arena, like, oh, this is bigger than what I thought. Like, because I could just see people naturally vibing to it. And I was just like, oh, no, we need to really do something. And then at that time, you know what I'm saying, I had a homie that was kind of, he was like a manager at the time, my homie Froggy. We sat down. He was like, hey, man, this could be big. Like, you could probably do a deal with them. And we started, putting that in the ear of the people we were talking to, and they didn't have no idea. So we kind of brought the idea to them, like, okay, well, I'm already doing the anthems, because by this time I had did 2 anthems in a row. Okay. Then I was just like, man, we could do something where we could design merch, because my homie that was with me, he was actually a designer. But, he was like, so we could design merch, and we can do something where, I do pre-game performances until we can get to a halftime performance. They love the idea of all that. So long story short, about a month later, we put up a deal, you know what I'm saying? They went with it, you know what I'm saying? We did the contracts, and we started off there. And it just kind of, every year it got bigger and bigger. Right. And then, you know what I'm saying, it turned into something where I'm like, oh, this is a blueprint. And after that, you know what I'm saying, once the stuff with the Mavericks came naturally. The thing with the Mavericks is I had already did an anthem for the Mavericks in 2011 when they actually won the championship. Okay. Before they won it, though. So, but that was just a fan-made. I wasn't connected with the Mavericks. Right. But it blew up. You know what I'm saying? So by the time the people in the Mavericks got caught wind out at the Cowboys, it kind of just came together. And you know what I'm saying, we just kind of did the same type of situations. Okay. And it was easy for me to do and fun for me to do, because like I said, I was just natural. I was a fan. So I'm doing it as a fan made it easy for me to just do it, even before we were talking about money and other different stuff, you know what I'm saying, which actually made them actually want to work with me even more, because they saw how genuine it was. So it just turned into that, me being a representative of the city, loving the city of Dallas, naturally being fans, trying to figure out how to get past the ceiling that I felt in Dallas. And when, once I got with them, it opened up the whole new world, to this day. So, man, I love working with the Mavericks, man. We got some big stuff coming. Okay. For this season coming up, the same thing with the Cowboys, and I'm tapping in with the Stars too, man. Hopefully, hopefully they can get past this round, but even if they don't, I'm gonna tap in with them too. So yeah, man, it's a city thing, man. I love putting on for Dallas.
Same here, man. I love that.
Okay. With that being said, and one of the things that you hear always in the street is that rappers want to be ballers. Ballers want to be rappers. You talk about your franchise relationships. I want to ask you just on GP, have you made any relationships with any of the players for the Mavericks and the Cowboys that, since you've been a professional, that you can say, hey, man, this is my homie, we kick it, we hang out, kind of like, and not saying this would be the same, but kind of like with Lil Baby and James Harden and their relationship and how they hang out and stuff like that. You got any partners on the team?
So with the Cowboys, when I first did it, me and Dez used to hang out a lot. Me and Dez, at that time, we used to hang out a lot. You know, I would also see, you know, Dak a lot and Ezekiel, especially Ezekiel when he was going out a lot. But the thing with the difference between football and basketball, first of all, the basketball players are different. And in Dallas is a different type of city where you don't have players, especially on the Mavericks. They never really been a player that hung out like in the clubs, and like we ain't never had like a player that was really even that has that characteristic or that type of personality. Never. Like even when you think about the squad now, like the Kyries and these are the people are not in the clubs.
Right. Not even the Josh Howards and them.
Yeah, Josh Howard, Matrix,
Tricks,
Sean
I like
Marion.
Sean. Sean
I rock with Sean Marion. I would see him a lot. But like Jason Terry, you know what I'm saying? Those when they was in that and when it was in that mode, yeah, I definitely will kick it with them and do like private events with them, club events with them, type stuff. But over the years, bro, the Mavericks' identity is a lot different, and even the Cowboys, like I really, you know, the way I am to the city and the way I move around, like me, I don't even leisurely go out. Like I don't club like I'm finna go to the club. Right. Now I go to a lot of clubs because I do a lot of hostings and bookings, and then I also break my music in the club. So like if I'm going to the club, it's definitely for those reasons. Like I can't think of I never really leisurely went to the club because my lifestyle always put me there. Like I always spend a lot of time there, but I don't leisurely go. So now they ain't never really been my thing to try and get close to the players like that. Me is more my connection with the actual organization. And to them, I'm like a player because my connection is more with them. And then also players get traded, man. Like even I was so upset when I made the first anthem for the Cowboys, It's Our Time. I named out the players, and then 2 years later, 3 of them, 4 of them gone. So I learned that. I learned to keep everything generic with them, and also to not even get so attached. Because, man, as you see, we lost Luka Doncic. You know what I'm saying? You know, somebody who I thought would never get traded. Right. So yeah, man, I really just. But I keep my ties with the organization and the people who actually, you know, keep what we got going afloat. Yeah.
No, you hit it right where I wanted you to go, and you talked about your relationship with Dez. When I think about your music and I think about Dez's games, they kind of mimic to each other. When the 808s are hitting, he's a aggressive, a violent runner. Yeah. You get that with your music and your beats, and I feel like both of those tie in together, which leads me to ask you, as a Cowboys fan, I've asked Matt off camera, I want to ask you, in that 2015 playoff game when they were up in Green Bay, the infamous catch or not?
For sure. Oh, that was 100%.
Do you feel that Dez caught it?
Man, that's 100%. You can go on YouTube right now and see that he caught it. Like, it ain't even a debate, bro. Like, you can literally go see it in present time that he caught that ball, bro. And, yeah, that was, man, I remember watching that game, bro, heartbreaking, because I think we would have won that. We went to the NFC Championship. Right. Yeah. And, you know, obviously we ain't been to that in years. So we actually was supposed to go to the NFC Championship that year. And, I mean, if you can get to the NFC Championship, that's just 2 games. That's just another game from the Super Bowl. So who knows what would have happened. But, yeah, that was definitely a catch, bro. You can see it right there, bro. It's literally that, bro. It's not on the ground. It's in his hand. But, yeah, we ain't going to bring up them emotions.
And piggybacking off of that conversation as we transition to the next question in the script, one of the questions that me and Matt done talked about, and I want to ask you as a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm a 49ers fan. My dad's people live out in California, so I'm in the Bay Area, which gives me ties there.
Yeah, man, shout out, before you even say that, man, shout out to the 49ers. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, my music blew up in the Bay Area. So that's like Ice Cream Paint Job, it blew up in the Bay. KMEL, it's a whole story, blew up in the Bay. So that brought me to the Bay a lot. Also, one of my closest homies is Michael Crabtree from Dallas, who played for the 49ers. So I would go out there to the games all the time because that was my homie. And Crab hit me up one year. I can't remember what year it was, but he hit me do an anthem for them one year. It's called San Fran 49, and I did that just off the base of Michael Crabtree. That's my homie from Dallas, this and that. So I got like a little special a special love, side love for the 49ers just because of all that. Yeah.
Slide that to me.
I'm gonna let you make it on that.
Okay. Slide that.
Shout out to them Carter Cowboys too.
Shout out to Mike on Crabtree on that one too.
For sure.
But what I was going to say, and like I said, this is a question that me and Matt have talked about off camera. I want to present it to you guys, if we never talked about it in public. So, living out in Dallas since 2015, I walked through the city. I've seen a lot of Cowboy fans. Yeah. I've been to a few Cowboy games, especially when the 49ers came and did their thing in the playoffs, and then I went out there. But I stereotype Cowboy fans, and I'm going to ask you how you feel about it. So when I see a Cowboy fan in a Dak, Troy Aikman, Tony Romo jersey, I feel like those are the conservative Cowboy fans.
Yeah.
And so you might catch them with their jersey on over their shirt and tie, look like they just came from the office.
Yeah.
Then you get into your Zeke, Michael Parsons,
Emmitt
Smith fans. Those are more a little bit less conservative.
Yeah.
But you'll catch them. You might catch them with Nike shoe on and Adidas pants and whatever shoes they got on going with that.
Facts.
But when you get into that 88 jersey, which is a culture jersey, it rivals that Michael Jordan 23 jersey. You get into that, whether you CD, Dez, Michael Irvin, you normally catch that fan with a fresh pair of Jordans on, 2 or 3 chains. They lady gonna be looking nice. Talk to me about why is that 88 jersey such a cultural icon out here in Dallas?
Man, bro, it really started, in my opinion, I think it started with Drew Pearson.
Okay.
Which is why Michael Irvin did it, because Michael Irvin is what made it iconic, 1,000%. The 88 jersey is because of Michael Irvin by far. But I feel like he was influenced, and what made him want to do it is probably his respect and his admiration for Drew Pearson, who wore 88.
Right.
And then Dez is 88 because of Michael Irvin.
Right.
And then CD Lamb is the respect. So I'm gonna say for me, when I think of 88, the first thing that comes to my mind is Michael Irvin.
Okay.
Like during that time, and during that time, that's when we won the Super Bowls. Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin was my favorite player. So my favorite players, for the Cowboys during that time was, obviously Emmitt, Michael Irvin. When Deion came, it was definitely Deion. You know what I'm saying? I remember, but I remember we had the the Larry Allens and and just different people. But 88, bro, like, man, you had a Michael Irvin jersey, like that was the jersey. Okay. You feel me? Like I remember having a couple Michael Irvin jerseys when I was little. And then getting one even a throwback one like later on in life. And the 88 come from Irvin, bro. And and he was so iconic, and they won those Super Bowls that if you're a Dez Bryant and you come into that thing, you step in, that's like putting on a Jordan jersey, this and that. And then I think, once Dez did his thing, but CD Lamb came, and honestly, I remember seeing CD Lamb a little bit in college. When he picked 88, I was like, oh, he gonna have to come ball. But homie came, and he definitely deserved to wear that 88. So I think it's so much pressure that if you get 88 coming to Cowboys, you have to, produce. And I'm just glad to see that pretty much everybody delivered on it. You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question, Michael Irvin, for sure.
Understandable.
So do you remember when Antonio Brown wore 88?
Yeah, he did come and wear 88. You're right, he didn't. It didn't come to my mind till you just said that, and I do remember it being a thing. Like people talked about it, because you had to step in some big shoes, and he didn't fill those shoes.
He did.
So that's the thing, bro. Because if you come and put that jersey on, people gonna expect way more from you just by wearing that jersey. So you kind of putting yourself in a position. But so I respect you being brave enough to do it. Like when CD Lamb did it, I was like, I respect it. I hope he come with it. But he deserving it. You know what I'm saying? He's showing it. But that bro, I wish that could be deleted, bro. I ain't
gonna say that. I'm gonna tell you what. So he mentioned that the other day when we talked about it, and I thought about it. And this is my shot to the Cowboys being a 49ers fan. Yeah. That because his jerseys didn't really sell out, they probably just rolled them over to Dez and didn't even have to reprint jerseys. By the time Dez came through, had some in the back that they didn't get rid of.
Dez had the D on his. Didn't Dez have the D?
Nah, he always had Brown on the back of his. So they probably could use some of the from Antonio and gave him to Dez and didn't even have to reprint. So
Cherry ain't going out like that. He wore that. But man, that's a lot of pressure you throwing that 88, definitely. Man. Yeah, you can't. It's the golden era, bro. Michael Irvin was golden era. How many Super Bowls Michael give us? 3? 3. Yeah. So bro, man, like you can't deny that it wasn't Michael Irvin that set that trend.
For sure.
Okay. As we transition to my favorite part of the show, this is our quick hitter section. Okay. And we normally name it after more or less, which is Matt's last name is more. But when you come, anytime you come, we'll rebrand it after you. So we've renamed it this time to be Yeah Buddy or No Sir.
Yeah, buddy, no sir.
If you're messing with it, you say yeah, buddy, and give your explanation. If you ain't feeling it, then you say no, sir, and you give your explanation, and we'll piggyback it. The first question we got for our quick hitters, the Dallas Mavericks have the #1 pick in the 2025 draft. Their expectation is to draft Cooper Flagg. Do you feel like Cooper Flagg can come into Dallas and replace Luka as a fan favorite?
Yeah, buddy, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why. Homie, he a two-way player, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he's not excited as Luka, but he can deliver the same amount of impact. You know, and he what you call a hard-nosed basketball player, true to it, coachable, two-way player, gonna play defense, a scorer. You know what I'm saying? I mean, his game is Jason Tatum-ish. You know what I'm saying? So like he gotta, I think, just the fact him being coachable and being a two-way player, he gonna be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? And he American born. You know they love that. You know what I'm saying? He fit the market for sure. I mean, I love Luka. I hated losing him, but I do know that you got to have that defensive aspect. You know, I played ball, and I know how important we couldn't win our big games. The games we came down to, it came down to us locking down people. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing. Okay. I think he gonna bring that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you feel about it? Yeah, buddy. I know, sir.
I'm gonna say nah. I don't think not replace Luka. But I think he gonna make an impact though. Like I think he definitely, like he said, Dorrough said, he a two-way player. But coming in, Luka had got the keys like his rookie year.
Yeah.
He gonna come in and have to really be like third option, fourth option, you know, some games.
For sure.
So you're not gonna see that same type of impact. But I think as far as what people looking for, you probably ain't seen a white American come through in the NBA since Kevin Love be a top pick. Was Kevin Love top pick?
I don't know.
You got Reed Shepard last year.
He definitely Kevin
top
Love
three. Okay. But
Larry Bird,
Larry Bird, since Larry Bird, you know what I'm saying, as far as hype, you know, that's how I feel. So yeah, I think it's gonna work out in the long run, but initially I think it's gonna be like some growing pains.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say yeah, buddy, for different reasons, but agreeing with Dorrough. Yeah, buddy, based off, I feel like he don't have to get thrown right into the fire with Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Clay being on the team. These are all three champions. So we anticipate them being with the team, 2 to 3, 4 years. 4 years from now, they can prepare Cooper to be a beast.
Exactly. He by the time he develop.
For sure. And then he came out of high school early, so he's already he probably just 18 at this point.
Yeah.
So he a year earlier. So you give him 4 years with those type of vets. Yeah. By the time he takes over, I feel like he can definitely come into the hearts of Maverick fans and be better than what Luka was, just based off of that type of setup he's gonna have.
Over time, though, right? But but that's what I'm saying. Over time, I can see it, but initially, it's going because, like I said, Luka was able to come in and shit. Just surprised. I didn't think he was gonna be able to do it. I didn't even want us to draft Luka. I'm honest. But then, like he said, him being with us so long. He grew on me, man, and I started loving him. So it's gonna take some of that with Cooper Flagg too.
Okay, all right. Next question on the quick hitters. 2025 season for the Cowboys. Yeah, buddy. No, sir. Dak can lead the Cowboys to the Super Bowl this year.
Ooh. Dak got the best weapons he can have right now. For as far as, at least when it comes to receivers. Just being a Cowboy fan and being so long and seeing some of the moves they finally made, I'm going to say yeah, buddy. I'm going to say yeah, buddy. I got to just, the fan in me want to say that. And also, Dak don't got no excuses, bro. You got the weapons now. You got a deep router. And you got CD Lamb when it comes to those on now. From our other aspect, that's gonna be defense and everything. That's that. But do Dak got what he needs to do it? Oh yes, for sure, 1,000%. He got the weapons he needs to be able to go pursue a Super Bowl for sure. Is Dak gonna pull it off? We're gonna see. But I'm gonna say yeah, buddy. I'm gonna be optimistic, man, like always.
Okay.
It's hard to do it though.
Yeah, buddy. What you mean?
All right.
Yep, I'm going with Dak.
Okay.
I mean, the way it's worded, I've seen lesser quarterbacks lead their teams to the Super Bowl or be a quarterback on the Super Bowl team. I think what it's going to come down to is the trenches, like every year. If our left tackle, Tyler Guyton, develops, the new guard we got, Tyler Booker, develop with everybody else we got, then that's going to take care of their front. Dak got the time to sit back and throw the passes, and we got a running game potentially, Then on the other side, we're going to need our defensive line to step up. We got to be able to stop the run to where Michael Parsons can pin his ears back and rush the passer, and we can take advantage of our secondary that it's pretty deep, even though a lot of them hurt. But I think it's just gonna all boil down to what we look like in the trenches, because the Eagles, the team that's the best last year, offensive line, defensive line is solid, and that's what pretty much was the determining factor for them.
Okay. As a 49ers fan, this is automatic no, sir, for me, but not based off of that. I take a look at it. I look at the NFC East. We coming off the Eagles. They kind of didn't lose a lot when it comes to top-end talent. We got Washington coming up, so that puts you guys in the dogfight for that NFC East.
For sure.
Then we look over the landscape of the NFC as a whole. The Rams did their thing. As a 49ers fan, I'm disappointed in the offseason moves that they made, so I'm not going to count them. The jury's still out on Detroit based off of them losing both of their coordinators. So the NFC is a toss-up, but I ain't tossing it up to the Cowboys just yet. Like I said, this is based off me being a 49ers fan, so no sir for me on that one.
That don't hold no weight either.
I got you. Okay. Also, as we end the session, we normally get it for top fives. We got 2 top fives for you on this one. This is one of Matt's questions. He wanted to ask you to name off some of your favorite producers in Texas.
My favorite producers in Texas, so my top 3 is my producers, because they've been producing everything for me. Okay. Diginorm, shout out to Diginorm. Too Much, shout out to Too Much, Q Smith. So those between Too Much produced Ice Cream Paint Job and many other records that I've done, Wired to the T. Q Smith did Holly Berry. Diginorm been doing everything, Beat Up the Block, me and Boosie. Like, between those 3 producers, they probably produce 80% of everything I do. So, and plus other stuff for other people as well. But I gotta go with them as my 3. But when you talk about even more top 5, I got to shout out to Mr. Lee. I got to shout out to S1. Playing skills. Those are the producers that I that come to mind.
Okay.
I'm a real in-house person, you know
right.
what I'm saying? Like, the sound that I was able to create, a lot of it, I contribute to my producers, because we get in and we got a chemistry.
Right.
So yeah, I got to get them the 5 or 6 that come to my mind right there.
Okay.
It's a whole lot of producers out here though. Shout out to all of them for sure.
Shout out to the guys you named for sure. And the last question, and I'll explain this so everybody can follow suit and know where we're going with this one, because this one needs to be worded right. The last question, we want to name the top 5 artists, but as a starting lineup for a basketball team. So it don't have to be your favorite artists or who you feel are the best right now. Okay. But who would be the point guard of Dallas? Who would be the shooting guard of Dallas? Who would be the small forward? And I'll go with my 5 first. So my point guard of Dallas right now would be Post Malone. Based off of him coming in with the sound he had. He was doing rapping, but he's ventured out into the pop culture. He's distributing out. He's getting Dallas on the map in areas that a lot of the artists that we solely listen to wouldn't probably hit. So I'll list him as the point guard. My shooting guard is my 18-year-old Kobe, with the flair and the flash to come in and just take over the city with the flair. I'm going to list Zillionaire Doe as my shooting guard right now with the flash that he's putting on for the city. Shout out to Doe. My third one is a guy that I over the last few weeks I've been listening to, and I feel like he gonna take that shooting guard spot, especially after next month when he drops his album. Is Hashi. I like Hashi's sound. I like his wordplay. As I was describing it to Matt off camera, I feel like he has a little bit of trap, but he also can give you some conscious. He make you think about his raps when he's flowing it, and then it slap you after you done heard the lyric come in, or after you done heard the hit, it'll slap you in it, and it give you something to think about. But it's just like, man, that bar was hard. So that's my 3. It's my small forward. Again, the 2 and 3 are interchangeable based off of defense and whatever's going on in that night. I like Hashi. I like Zoe.
Yeah.
When it comes to my power forward, this is somebody who does the dirty work for the city. I'm gonna give it to you, my guy.
Yeah.
Again, it gives that anytime you hear you on the beat, you come in with them 808 slapping. The bass lines, it gives a violent type atmosphere. That's what I would expect my power forward to give me on a given night when he gonna hit them boards every night. And I feel that when you put that on, especially Ice Cream Paint Job. At the time when I first heard it, I had 212s in the Cadillac. I was slapping.
Yeah.
And that's power forward work. He's giving me double with boards.
Yeah.
And then my center for Dallas is Big X. And this is Orlando Magic Shaq. This is
Yeah.
92 to 96 Shaq, based off of the avenues that he's doing. He came in, he's hard in the paint, he's giving you the sample game, but he's also venturing over into some commercial lanes with the Shabuzi record, as well as the Bailey Zimmerman record. That's Shaq with the movies. That's Shaq, but he's also giving you the paint on the with the blocks and the points in the paint. So I'm gonna give it to Big X as my 5. So that's Post, that's Doe, that's Hashi, that's you as the 4, that's Big X as the plug. As the 5 Dallas artists, can you name them as your starting 5?
So my starting 5, I'm gonna go with a small lineup.
Okay.
Like if we for the run and gun.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We're going for the run and gun, and we for the. I'm gonna start it off at the point. I'm a LeBron the situation, so I'm gonna put myself at the point just because of my relationships and everything I got with every artist, and it's easy for me to put people on tracks and put different things. Just like even one of the new records that we got out with Eric and Hashi, I'm able to put people together so I can distribute. You know what I'm saying? And I get in that bag. The shooting guard points score, like I need a lot of points right now. I need you to go out there and score right now. I'm gonna go with X. I'm gonna put Big X plug in the shooting guard spot. You just go score points right now. And the wing, to me, I always look at the 2 and 3 similar. Obviously, on the other wing, I'm gonna put Hashi on the other wing. Okay. So them two, and I know Hashi is versatile. He's real versatile. So I could interchange him and X. Sometimes I could put Hashi at that 2 spot or put you. But basically, I'm gonna have them on the wing. Okay. Now to keep it on we running and gunning, I'm gonna throw. I ain't gonna call it the 4 spot. I'm gonna put. You know what? I'm gonna put Hashi on the 4 spot. And then I'm gonna throw Mo 3 and on the other wing.
Good one. Okay.
I'm gonna throw Mo 3 on the other wing. Shout out to 3, man. We got some music that's unreleased that's coming out too. So but aside from that, I know what I can get from 3. I'm gonna put him on. I'm not gonna put him in the 2 spot. I'm putting him in the 3 spot. I'm gonna have him actually play the dirty work from the wing and go get the streets. You know what I'm saying? Put up a lot of records that people gonna fall in love with. The talent, he gonna have the talent. He gonna draw in a whole different thing. And then for that 5 spot, man, I'm gonna actually go with either Tuck or Tom. Okay. Big Tuck or Big Tom. They gonna bring the roots. Okay. They gonna bring, you know what I'm saying? They gonna bring that, the classic. They gonna bring the stability. You know what I'm saying? They gonna bring the identity. They gonna bring a certain pride. We out there. We see, Tuck or Tom in the post. We plan for. We know we plan for the city. You know what I'm saying? We see them, just the energy that we gonna get. Like, the OGs here. You know what I'm saying? So they gonna block some shots. But yeah, man. But it's a lot of ways you can go with a 5-on-5, man. A 5 squad. I want to throw Zillionaire in there too. Right. But yeah, I think with Hashi 3 and Big X, we finna put up points. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I'm just gonna dish the plays. In this game, I'm gonna be distributing. I'm gonna be on my Chris Paul. Okay. Yeah.
Man, who you got for your 5?
Man, I almost don't even want to get. Y'all done took all of mine, man. Like mixed it up. But I'm gonna try. Let's see if I could do something a little different. I can't really, cause I had you at point, Dorrough. Okay. And I had X at the 2, just like he did. But I guess, and I was thinking 3 at the 3, but I'm gonna throw Big Chief in at the 3. Okay. Yeah. Give me Pookie at the 4. Okay. And give me and it's Mr. Pookie, and give me Tuck at 5.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You guys did some good things on your starting 5. We both mentioned Hashi. I want to shout out Hashi. I've been trying to get him on the show.
Yeah, shout out Hashi, man. Hashi, man.
He'll be a good guest, and he'll come through and give us some insight on his background. Also, his new album coming up as well. Before we get out of here, do you have any projects that you're working on this summer that you want to shout out? Anything that you want the streets to know about or the audience to know about that you should be on the lookout for going forward?
Man, there's so much coming out this summer, bro. I was in the studio earlier today going over the records and the plan. So starting June 6th, I got a record coming out every Friday. So they need to know that. And those are one-offs. But the projects that to be looking forward to, first of all, look out for Hashi project. He finna drop his album in a month. Okay. But then, me, Hashi, and King Jerome, somebody that y'all may not never heard of.
Okay.
King Jerome start with a C. We putting in some records. We're gonna have a project coming. King Jerome in that country rap lane. You know what I'm saying? And he from the Fort Worth, Arlington area, so people should know he got a nice fan base going on. Look out for him. Me, I got the solo project coming out in August and October. I got 2 projects coming out, solo projects coming out August and October, and a bunch of singles dropping this summer. So it's gonna be like we running and gunning this summer for sure.
You giving us some stuff to listen to over the next few months. I look forward to popping that in the deck, especially when I'm on the road. Just getting them beats in, getting them lyrics in my head. I look forward to listening to it. So
for sure.
Thank you for putting us on game. Before we end it, Matt, do you have anything you want to say before we end the show?
Oh man, I just appreciate you coming on. Oh, do you still got that strain that you had that you was working on?
Yeah, the ice cream paint job stuff. Shout out the Rogue Shop, man. We actually revamping that. We actually was banking and hoping on certain of the legal aspects to happen in Texas, but it don't look like that's happening. They just did something last week where they trying to ban the hemp or whatever. So we actually gonna go with a more mainstream play that we putting together to actually just go straight to the place where it's legal, which the blue states, and do something in those states. I want to bring it here in Texas and do it a certain kind of way, but the laws ain't allowing me to do what I really need and want to do. But yeah, the strain is still in full effect, and the revamp is also a summer 25 project.
Okay.
Well,
Good stuff. But now I appreciate you coming on, Chief. I actually went to school with one of your brothers at TJC for a little bit, Tyler Junior College.
Oh, Jermaine.
Yeah. And Paul Quinn with him.
And shout out to man. We going to his daughter, which is my niece. She graduates tomorrow. So yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, Chief.
Okay. Before we get out here, I want to shout out Forever Energy Forever Clothing. My guy Jordan hooked me up with the hat. I told him I would give him a shout out when we came on and did the episode with Dorrough. He's got a lot of great stuff that he's about to drop this summer. He's got to deal with the Mavs. You catch his clothing on Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, them. Hopefully he can get that out and we can get the information next time we have an episode. So I'll be glad to give him a shout out. But appreciate Jordan for the hat and look forward to his projects coming up. With that being said, we'll wrap this episode up. This is another episode of Real Game Talk, where sports and culture come together to create conversation. We look forward to you guys. Also, make sure you like and subscribe, YouTube, Spotify. Until next time, we'll see you guys. Salute.
Hey.